Today we're going to be taking a look at the history of UV Tyson demos for the 26th map of Requiem, the blockbuster 1997 megawatt experience. Map 26 is one of those leftover Demon Fear levels that was added to the game just to make sure that it, just had to pad the map count a little bit there. And as a result, it's very short. And so we're going to take a look at the Tyson history for this, starting all the way back in 2001, if you can believe such a thing, with the very first entry by a one Zitvono in June of 2001. So this is a 6-minute run. I'm just going to start playing it here. This is a little bit of a slow table fill. And so while it's playing, I'm going to read the text file here. So Zitvono writes in 2001, "It is near impossible to kill an archvile with a chainsaw when there are other monsters around, so I waited for all monsters to cross the doorway before I killed them and played keep away with the archvile." And so, as you can see here, this level doesn't have that many monsters. There's only 21 enemies. There is a chainsaw pretty much right at the start. And the really big question here, the big wild card, is that archvile. Now, I did run this myself. I do not currently have the record anymore because Zitvono is a time traveler and is able to do runs in 2001 and 2024 and beat my times. So, but it's very interesting. I haven't watched the oldest run here. A little bit of keyboard turning there if you saw it. But yeah, this is a very interesting run because I and Zitvono were also doing this very recently, a couple of weeks ago. And the run is all the way close down to like just about a minute. I think the current record is 1 minute 16. So to just see this kind of just like going for the exit, because that was one of the things, and this is why I'm a huge proponent of speedrunning random new PWODs, is because sometimes it's just more about the fun of just like getting the exit than to like go as fast as possible. And there's that's the other thing about this map is health-wise, there's not too much health. There's 2 bits of green armor, so you should have armor the whole time. You'll probably run out of health before you run out of armor. But like, you can get shot by these shotgunners and lose like 30 or 40 hit points, and that's a huge load to take on so early. So as you can see here, again, just the maximum amount of safety. I am going to speed this up a little bit here. No offense, of course. Sorry if I'm a little sniffly. I got allergies. So now we have the archvile fight. Now again, this guy is a little bit of a bitch. Because, he spawns up on that, like, kind of pedestal. So you kind of have that inclination if you want to kill him immediately. But that's really hard because it's a really narrow area. There's no cover. So luring the archvile to this section here so you can use the door frames and walls as cover makes it so, again, it's very slow. But this demo here is going for an exit. It's not really going for speed. And again, we're going to be showing how this going for speed looks pretty shortly here. The thing about the chainsaw is also that the chainsaw has like kind of a pull effect. If you are close to an enemy and you start using the chainsaw, you can get pulled toward the enemy. And so sometimes when you're trying to do a little bit of a dance with the archvile, that pull effect can actually be pretty dangerous because you want to kind of run away, but you don't let go of the fire button, quite yet. And so you kind of get pulled into them, and that can kind of disorient you. So that's why also you'll notice that there's a lot of like really short, like with this Baron, for example, just going for like 1 or maybe, maybe a couple frames of damage there. But if you kind of stay too long or hold down the button too long, you'll have to deal with that pull effect, which can be pretty dangerous, especially when you're doing something like a Baron. In a lot of ways, using a non-Berserk Fist on a Baron is actually an easier order than a chainsaw. Though I think with enough practice and skill, as you can see here, even in such an old demo, with enough practice and skill, you can pretty much take them down pretty easily. But still, you gotta watch out for the pull effect. So it might actually end up being quicker if you just kind of go with that more easily, done timing of the punching rather than with the chainsaw. But So right here, we're doing a little bit of a pan and scan for monsters because this was recorded on Doom 2 1.9 and presumably on a real DOS machine in 2001, I can imagine. But either way, again, that is the very first exit for MAP26. And we're going to be taking a look at a couple of demos now that get it done a little bit faster. But again, that was pretty good for a first try. And again, if you're going for that, like you're just trying to beat the level here, speed doesn't really matter. You know, that's why, again, I recommend people to speed run a lot of newer WADs because you can afford to kind of take it a little bit more easy in some of those instances. So it's a lot of fun. Though, again, running for speed is also pretty fun too. So throwing that one in there. So coming up next, we have a 3-minute and 49-second demo by one Eugene Kapustin, who is not a very active runner anymore. Zitvono, of course, is still very active to this day, but a lot of the old players from the Comp10 era are long gone. But either way, the key is to kill a batch of wimps and let the Archie do his creative work, says Eugene. Let's check it out. Is that really a good strategy? Sounds like a pretty decent strategy. Let's find out. I just like, okay, so let's start this off. We have this dramatic kind of slide over, then like a weird pause, and then you start shooting the shotgunner. That's a really good start. Now this Pain Elemental here, this guy, I gotta be honest with you, from my attempts, this guy is probably the worst enemy placement. Worse than the Archvile, because with the Archvile, he's so dangerous that like it warrants like, you know, a special strategy to deal with the Archvile. But with the Pain Elemental, you can just kind of get fucked and they kind of like linger in that outside area in ways that are really annoying, especially if they kind of start letting out lost souls. It can be extremely frustrating. So taking some time just to kind of kill the Pain Elemental a little bit, you know, without dealing with those lost souls that are probably going to start, you know, coming down the pike pretty soon is very, very, very preferable. And again, when you're trying to beat a 6-minute run, you can pretty much do anything you want when it comes to killing all the enemies. Just go a little bit quicker. And this is about half the time, though, is a 6-minute run. You know, it's 3 minutes something. I think it's a high 3 minutes. But either way, we're seeing a very similar strategy of just getting the Archvile to this doorway here. And now one of the problems also is that they're just going to keep resurrecting the guys here. But it's not really a problem when it comes to getting an exit. It's really just kind of like it slows you down a little bit. But again, the current record is it's way less than half of what this run is. So that's what's fun about Tyson is like with a lot of old runs, especially, you know, UV Max, you can get some really slow runs. And, you know, I don't say slow in a disparaging way. You know, I think it's really cool that people were recording you know, demos of this caliber all the way back then. I think that that's really, really cool and fun, and especially with the side categories. But like with Tyson, you know, the goal of we're just trying to beat the level here. Like that kind of mantra makes it so that you get wildly different strategies, wildly different ways of doing the route, you know, like where to go and what monsters to kill first, and wildly different methods of doing everything. Whereas in Max, UV Max, even in old runs, there's usually a little bit more of like a flow and a knowledge, and especially with the guns, it's not that much time variance, you know, like if you have a BFG and 2 shots, you know, you can use them in different areas of the level, but either way, you still have a BFG and 2 shots. But with Tyson, the playing field is a lot more limited, and so, you know, with a lot of these old runs, especially when you're just trying to get an exit, yeah, you can end up spending a lot of time just, you know, trying to play it safe, either with the pistol takes a while, or by using the chainsaw. Again, Zitvono was doing a little bit of a chainsaw dance, but again, taking it safe because of that pull effect. So if you were to go chainsaw versus pistol on this Baron, just like going balls to the wall, going for damage output, the chainsaw would definitely be faster. But when you're trying to play it safe and you don't want to deal with that pull effect, like kind of getting you in a position that's going to kill you pretty easily, then at that point, then the pistol becomes faster. But either way, again, I love how I love watching people do the same series of kind of events in wildly different ways. And with Tyson, again, there's a lot more creativity. There's a lot more ingenuity with how people, and also variance as well. Again, with Max, you know, you have a certain amount of ammo, a certain amount of guns. But with Tyson, you know, that's where you see people's real routing skill or other forms of creativity and ultimately luck come out to play. And so definitely going to be covering more of these Tyson runs. But yeah, pretty good beat from Eugene there. 2 years later, I forgot to mention the date, but that's always on screen. So. And next up, we got a run back from Zitvono in 2004. So let me cue this up. And this is the first 2-minute demo, a 2-minute and 13-second run. This was the record when I decided to take a look at this map a couple of weeks ago. This was the record. So let's read the text file. This was fun. You just go around and kill stuff with the chainsaw. The arch file is a bit tricky to kill, but with a little luck, it can be handled. Now, with a little luck, that goes a long way, because luck is very important with this one, especially when you're going for anything under 2 minutes. But this is like, yeah, this is like probably I would say like the first, and again, without trying to be disparaging, like the first really solid run of this map here. The current record is just about a little bit less than a minute faster than this. And again, this was the record when I did my run too. So this also was the record for about 20 years. And that's, like, you know, again, you don't get that anywhere else. You only get that kind of big gap in record history in the Doom speedrunning scene. And that's what I love about it. And again, you know, I'm a huge fan of Zitvono's runs when I first started running Doom. You know, the level sets that I was playing, you know, Memento Mori. I played a little bit of Requiem, but one of these days I gotta actually go back and learn the whole thing. But, you know, so I watched a lot of Zitvono runs, and for Zitvono to still be actively posting demos, I find that to be pretty fun and pretty cool, you know, 20 plus years later. So, and again, the skill, you know, again, 20 years of playing the same game, you can really see it in, you know, just a 3-year gap between the 6-minute demo and this demo. Just like kind of a 3-year gap of skill and creativity and kind of just, you know, brute force on trying to get some of these guys to fight each other and use infighting a little bit more intelligently and stuff like that. You can really see that. But again, once we get to the more recent runs, then you're going to be seeing how 20 years of skill really adds up. And, you know, maybe in 20 years, I can hopefully be pretty decent at this game. I'd like to be pretty decent. I consider myself to be okay. Now, this is a big, you know, strategy point of getting these two guys to fight each other, and then while they're fighting each other, just going all in on the chainsaw. Because while the Baron's distracted, you can basically just hold down the fire on the chainsaw, and that is a massive time save. Versus, again, in that 6-minute demo, just doing like the tap firing of the chainsaw and like a little dance or whatever. So again, that's probably the massive time save there. It's just chainsawing the Baron and getting really lucky with that arch file. And that arch file, I mean, that's one fuck mother of an arch file, let me tell you. All right. So coming up next, I posted a 1-minute 53-second run. On April 13th, so about a month ago now, maybe 3 weeks ago, I did this. And in my comment section, I wrote, sloppy second half, but the arch file was the luckiest thing ever, a classic Demon Fear Tyson. Now, I have done a lot of Demon Fear Tysons over the last couple of months, and so then I remembered that Requiem had, like, those scrapped Demon Fear maps. For those of you that don't know, Requiem had, like, I think it was like maybe someone else in the comments would know more of the details, but it had like something around like 26, 27 levels. And Adam Windsor, the fellow who made Demon Fear, was working on the last episode of Demon Fear, I think, the last 5 maps, and then decided to basically just donate those to the Requiem project, rework them a little bit, you know, use some of the Requiem textures and so on. And so it's basically just, you know, to use a term I don't really like too much, DLC for Demon Fear as far as I'm concerned. So that's why I picked this map originally, because I was looking at, and I think I did one of the other Windsor maps in Requiem too, several months ago. But either way, blah, blah, blah. Let's watch the demo. 1 minute, 53 seconds. So let's see how I can figure out how to do this 20 years later. Again, a 20-year gap in record progression is just, you don't see that anywhere else. You don't, and you know, you can also, the counter argument is like, well, that's because Doom, I guess, is like super unpopular. And it's like, well, that's the thing about Doom, is it's extremely popular. It's just that there's so many levels, such a diverse amount of like categories and levels, that even though it does have thousands of players over history, a lot of them don't converge on the same levels. Versus, you know, other sorts of speedruns. Like, you know, one of my favorite other speedruns is Spyro the Dragon, a PlayStation 1 game. You know, there's only 3 Spyro games. And, you know, there's no mods, there's no level packs, you know, there's only so many categories you can do. And so, like, yeah, you can have, like, hundreds of people who do Spyro speedruns, but they're all playing the same series of levels, and they're all playing the same category. They're all doing it and that kind of thing. Whereas with Doom, just because of the level of custom materials, you know, levels or just different categories or that kind of stuff. You can even mod the game to create new categories, you know, like that's something I've seen before. Again, look at this Baron, really nice. I don't know why I stopped chainsawing. I got a little bit nervous because my health was low, so a little bit of a bad decision. But hey, I did get the record here, so. But again, yeah, so like, Doom is really popular, and it's really spread out amongst a lot of different levels, and that's what's really fun about it, because it you know, I like this a lot because it kind of feels like a little bit of like an archaeological. I accidentally destroyed my entire setup, so just bear with me. Where was I? This is where I was, just about. Yeah, that's right, I'm leaving this in. But it's more like, it's like an archaeological kind of experience where it's like you're just kind of going through history. And, you know, I sometimes look at demo dates, especially when I'm doing like more of that compete to end stuff. I'll usually, nice with that pistol there. Or was that the chain gunner that actually helped me out? I think it was actually the chain gunner. Can we watch this again? No, it was my pistol. When I'm looking at compete to end stuff, I don't normally watch the demos each time, but I like looking at the file dates. And again, like when I see like, oh, 20 years it's been, that heavily motivates me to go at it, because I just really enjoy that that level of history. And again, you just don't see that in many other speedruns. And you know, a lot of that is just because of the fact that Doom has this illustrious history of custom content, as much as I don't like that word either. And also, again, a shitload of players, and also, again, a shitload of different categories. You know, it's really the perfect speed game for all of those reasons. But coming up here again, Zitvono took a 20-year gap, you know, like 2 minutes and change or whatever. Perfectly fine demo for 20 years. Now I'm trying to get a run, and then all of a sudden, now is the time that Zitvono decides to do more Requiem 26. So let's see what we have in the text file here. I spent a few hours last night working on this. It seems to take quite a bit of luck to get the Revenant to fight the Baron. Then I don't have a good way to fight the Archvile. This time the Baron survived, so I made the Archvile kill it. The Archvile was low enough health that I was able to chainsaw it without taking a hit. I think the other way is probably a bit faster, especially if you're good at sawing the Archvile. So again, this run, you'll see, it kind of shows the big variance that the Archvile plays on how the runtime ends up being here. So just jumping off, killing this guy. Again, that pain elemental can be a little bit frustrating as well, especially when you're trying to get this time down. Because yeah, the pain elemental can kind of meet you at that window, but if he doesn't do that, either you want to reset until that happens, or just kill the guy later. And when that happens, then you're dealing with potentially, you know, a dozen lost souls flying at you. So it's like, for me personally, I was just doing reset sooner than later. And so from this point onward, really the big question is, you want to get the Baron and the Revenant to damage each other, and then also you want to try to get the Archvile involved as well in that. And again, the thing with the Archvile when it comes to infighting is the Archvile has a unique kind of style of infighting where if they take any damage from anything, whatever they got hit by the most recently is going to be what they target. And not all, I'm pretty sure actually that the Archvile is that was a really unfortunate imp there. Just, you know, just instant replay. I'm pretty sure the imp just kind of, yep, look at that. Whoopsie. Well, maybe you hit the wall a little bit. Maybe the imp wasn't at fault there, but either way, let's blame the imp. It's a lot easier that way. But the Archvile is, I'm pretty sure, the only monster where any amounts of damage, it doesn't matter, it could be 1 hit point of damage. Whatever hit them the most recently, they're going to infight with. And so you can kind of use that in a Tyson run to just kind of use the Archvile as like a kind of co-op a little bit. To kind of direct the attacks at other monsters. But the only problem also with that is that other monsters will never really learn to fight with the Archvile. So that's one of the other side effects, is you can only get the Archvile to infight with other guys here. A brave move just going at that Archvile, not even going for cover or anything. But again, that's the big variance here, is you can use the Archvile to do a lot of damage for you. But also, when you let the Archvile loose, you know, it kind of gets it out of your hands, you know? And so we know that the Archvile stands and spawns on that, like, pedestal at the start. What would happen if you just kind of ran up there and just dealt with them instead of letting them out to play? I don't know. What would happen? Let's find out. I'm not actually sure if this next run I do that or not, but I know I started trying it. And so, anyway, a couple days later... Actually, no, I think it was the same day. Yeah, the same day. I recorded a 1 minute 23 second run. So I thought this run was hot shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, damn, 123? Holy shit. Let's watch. Max the dog is currently woofing. I'm not sure if that's audible or not. So again, I'm telling you, this pain elemental. So eventually I just got just like 5 seconds there of waiting for the thing that never came. So then I jumped out the window. Oh, so horrible. Okay, so no, this run actually, the Archvile does a run here. And then I juggle him in this little section here. There's like a little crevice you can kind of get him stuck into. Where there's like, you know, the 2 wood pillars. And you can kind of just like sandwich them in there. So really lucky Archvile kill. But again, either way, it would be faster to just kind of run up there and kill the Archvile ASAP. If I were to run this again, that would be the route that I would choose. But I got really lucky doing it the other way there. And now the big section here. So the Archvile is already dead, which means the focus can solely go to the Baron and the Revenant. Because you want to get these guys to infight as soon as possible so you can start that kind of infight clock. And then also you can start tearing down the Baron or the Revenant. You know, you could theoretically choose to saw down the Revenant here as well. But the Baron just has more health, so... it's a little bit better. Really lucky on the health left over on the Revenant too. Again, when I finished this run, I thought it was pretty solid. But, you know, my victory was short-lived because Zitvono the next day posted a 1 minute and 16 second run. And again, this is the current record as well that we'll be checking out here. And so I would consider running it again. You know, whenever I feel like running it again, I might, you know, it's on my short list. But right now I'm taking a little bit of a break. I'm trying to work on some level stuff. But either way, let's check it out. 1 minute, 16 second. Before we start, let me read the accompanying file. A file that accompanies the materials here. Let me just, we got to get this file. Description. I found the fastest way to deal with the Archvile is to just go for it, and I never had much success trying to hide behind walls anyway. This run is quite solid, but it could be a few seconds faster if I didn't go for Stimpak. So again, just going for it. Fuck that Archvile. Let's watch. Again, that Pain Elemental, just choosing to jump out the window and kind of coming, you can go up those like weird stairs, the little pillars, but also again the Lost Souls kind of just make that really frustrating experience. So right here, again, you want to get the Baron and the Revenant infighting as soon as possible. So kind of getting them into the same space while you try to tackle the Archvile is a very interesting strategy. And again, another route that I was playing with as well is to just run up to the Archvile immediately. Like skip the Pain Elemental even and just run to the Archvile immediately. That's pretty much what Zitvono does, except Zitvono takes care of the Pan Elemental first. But either way, again, this is a very solid run. A lot of the other enemies, like the Imps and the Spectres, I think were killed by infighting as well. So just really, really efficient skill, and also, again, the route of just saying, fuck that Archvile, I'm just gunning for it. Very, very, very nicely done. And again, shout outs to Zitvono for still playing Doom 20 years later, you know? You know, usually, you know, I'd think, okay, I'm going to beat a run that's 20 years old, and it's usually a free record, you know, no one else is going to do it. Nope, not the case. And so again, I might try this again. I might not. It's very possible that I don't ever try it again. It's also very possible I do try it again. But either way, a 116 is a tremendous time. But also, if you can look at this board here, we have a task run. Zitvono recorded a run using Xdre or Xdre or XDRE, whatever you want to do, which is a source port that makes you able to build a demo frame by frame. And this is basically what a perfect run, not even a perfect run, but like a better than perfect run would look like. And I want to play this because it's pretty cool. 38 seconds. Let's watch it. So you got a lot of these sharp turns here. Now, I've done task runs for the Tyson category, but I've never used the Xdre port that allows you to do frame advance. I normally would just do real-time, or like, you know, real-time input, but with like slowed down gameplay. So like 50% speed or something like that. So it's very interesting to see this, you know, again, going with that extra mile where every frame is kind of built for the ideal outcome. Now, it's really hard, especially in a Tyson run, to know what the true ideal outcome is. But I just want to play this again because you might be wondering, like, what the fuck happened? Where did the Revenant go? Where did the Archvile go? Let's just do it again here. Just, like, again, now this is the strategy I was playing with for real time. It was just like running up here and hoping that it works. But again, it's pretty crazy just watching it happen. The Revenant right there doesn't even matter. And that's the other thing, when you're doing a task, like in a real-time run, you want to get that Revenant to fight with the Baron, and that can take a while. But in a task environment, like just the setup time for getting that Revenant to fight with the Baron is just not worth it, especially when you have these Spectres here. But again, I love a good task, and that is a wonderful task. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I apologize if my commentary is a little lackluster today. But you know, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. But anyway, that is Requiem MAP26 Tyson. I'll definitely be taking a look at other Requiem levels. I'm not as familiar with Requiem as I am with the Memento Moris. So at some point, maybe I gotta go back through Requiem and relearn all the levels and maybe try out a couple more. And then I'll probably do some more Requiem stuff. But either way, I'm definitely going to be covering some more Tyson stuff. Definitely going to be covering some Demon Fear for this program here. Because, again, I'm a huge fan of Demon Fear. And that's why, that was my impetus for wanting to try this particular Requiem map. And there you go. So, go subscribe to Zitvono as well. They have a YouTube channel. And I think that's everything. Is it? Is that everything? Maybe it's not everything. No, I'm pretty sure it's everything. Okay.